Yo, 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 what is up, guys? We are back trading evals again. Yep. 3 months, man. 3 months. After a long 3 months, we're back in trading evals. I mean, we were kind of already trading evals, but, bro, still has not hit me. I'm like, man, we really dogged out that fund, dude, bro. But it's alright, bro. We had it for 3 months, 3K payouts. Fucking insane work, you know? Same time, insane work. So, good little run we had, bro. There's something I'm seeing right here, guys. I want us to crawl a little bit deeper. I want us to have something, perhaps. Let's see. Ooh, yes, dumped quite a bit right now. Yeah. Not saying I'm entering on this trade. I'm just, this would look like a good one, right? Retesting back to the zone. Kind of want to see how we do. All right. We're in a 5-minute fair value gap. Pinch candle at the highs, though. So we'll see. If it fails, it fails. Definitely love that pinch, though. I liked it to go lower. Damn, yes, it's fucking. Motherfucker's going. I think the zone's honestly off, guys. I think the zone right here is super off. Let me see what my cousin has it on, bro. What the fuck? That zone is completely off. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But I don't know. This zone's like right here. Yeah, I think, guys, honestly, bro, our zones are super off. Super, super off. Yeah, I think that's what's holding us back. Fellas, these zones are crazy off. Little VWAP. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Oh shit. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Can we hold this fair value gap? Yo, Loki. So Powell speaks at 9. I thought it was just home. He's speaking again? Oh, Powell testifies. Fuck. Oh my fuck. Or look it up real quick on YouTube. This testify. Crazy hold, I'm not gonna lie. Look, bearish hammer. I mean, it still looks like we're going uphill though. Is it bad that I want to enter, guys?
Or because we want to continue growing, we're the number one economy in the world. We need to continue growing. So you're saying that what's affecting the growth?
Well, there are two things that affect growth. One is growth in the labor force, more people working, and the other thing is productivity. How much do they produce per hour worked? And when you significantly slow the growth of the labor force, you will slow the growth of the economy. But I think again, it's not for us to have a view on immigration policy.
No, I understand. I was just my comments, but you do agree that if we don't have those hands, then we don't grow.
I think that growth will slow, and actually is slowing this year, and that's one of the reasons.
We don't like that. So now let's talk about the next 10 years.
2025, right here. I just don't want to see any type of rejection.
Americans are not having more kids. So that means that we need other people, right? So over the next decade, based on the current trends that I just explained to you and that you just reiterated, will there be enough workers to fulfill the labor needs of our economy between 2025 and 2035?
I think labor economists do observe the phenomenon you're talking about, which is demand for labor going to be met by the domestic population, the native-born population, and the answer appears to be probably not over the next 10 years.
And then what about if we do not have that labor force over the next 10 years? What happens?
So many things will happen. You can see a big increase in productivity, which would mean we don't need as many workers. For example, artificial intelligence could be implemented in a way that creates widespread productivity gains. I wouldn't count on that, but it's possible.
You would not? You would not count on that?
I wouldn't count on it.
You would not?
No, I mean, I think there'll be gains because with productivity enhancing things, they typically take longer to be implemented, and then it takes a while for the gains to be shown. I think in the case of artificial intelligence, those gains are coming, but they may take longer or be less in the beginning than expected.
And during the time that those changes happen, then what happens? Our economy doesn't grow. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but I mean, those who make immigration policy are entitled to weigh these factors. We can report on what happens, but it's really not our job.
I understand it's not. I just want to hear what you're thinking, what's your expertise based on those immigration laws that we're implementing right now. The last thing, because I only have 30 seconds. Do you think that with everything that we have talked about, do you think that we can continue remaining, or the United States economy can continue being the number one economy in the world, and that we could compete if we were to have the immigration laws that we have right now?
I think you could have, the highest per capita earnings, but if you're talking about the aggregate output, then, population growth may be a constraint.
Which one of the two is more important?
Gentleman's time has expired.
Good question.
Well, you can, I think.
Gentlewoman's time has expired.
All right.
Let me turn to the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Mr. Himes, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Chairman Powell. Let me start by thanking you for your careful keeping in your lane and steering clear of fiscal policy, and in particular for your stalwart defense of independent monetary policy. You're getting pressure from very powerful places and lots of kibitzing from lots of members on the interest rate question, and most know better that our independent monetary policy is the very bedrock of our economy. So thank you for that. Mr. Chairman, I want to talk just a little bit about some of the technical matters associated with energy prices and inflation, because obviously turmoil in the Middle East has sent oil prices swinging wildly, with West Texas Intermediate in the last month or so being anywhere between $61 and $75 a barrel. We recently saw the Iranian parliament vote to close the Strait of Hormuz, which currently handles around 20 million barrels a day, a fifth of global demand, and a little bit more in terms of natural gas. Chair Powell, you said last week that conflict in the Middle East in the 1970s resulted in very large inflation shocks. In contrast to the 1970s, today the United States does not import most of its energy. We call ourselves energy self-sufficient on a net basis. But I hear the argument made that I think is wrong, that because we're energy self-sufficient, somehow we are insulated from global energy price market prices. Can you comment on that? Is there any validity to the notion that we are not, American consumers of energy are not subject to global swings in energy prices?
Yeah, so
yo, what's up, V? What's up, V, bro?
The price of oil is set globally, right?
Funded is no longer here.
If you go back a few years, the thought was that when the global we had a natural shock absorber, which is that we would just drill more, and that we would, if prices went up, we would drill more, and so you wouldn't have these sustained price shocks that we had during the 1970s and the original OPEC era. I think that is actually in question now, because the oil industry in the U.S. is being much more careful and focused on return on investment than they were, having been burned with overcapacity.
Right, and I mean, yeah, in the long run, you can invest in additional extraction technologies, but this does not respond to day-to-day spot prices. So
not quickly.
The point I'm trying to make is that the conflict in the Middle East, if it resulted in $120 a barrel oil, which is where oil was in 2022, that would have a fairly substantial inflationary impact on the American household. Is that correct?
We would certainly feel that, and as we discussed earlier, there's a lot of lore around looking for oil price shocks. That depends on the facts and circumstances.
What, as a technical matter, we tend to refer to CPI, which is a basket of goods, and we measure the price changes. Roughly speaking, what percentage of that basket is comprised of energy?
I don't have that on the top of my head. It's much less than it was, of course. The oil consumption is much less than it was in the 70s as a percent of GDP.
But energy includes natural gas and gasoline, and it's a meaningful portion of the.
Yes, although of course we have more natural gas than we have, so much natural gas, so that'll always be there for us.
So none of us can predict what's going to happen in the Middle East in an hour, much less in a week or a month or a year. But as a technical matter, at what price for a barrel of oil does the American household begin to feel inflationary effects? So we're at $75 a barrel roughly right now. At what price point does the American household begin to feel some inflationary effects?
I don't want to throw out a number. I think we're frankly, it's too early to say that that's going to happen, and I know you know that. But I wouldn't want to throw out a specific number. If prices went up materially, people would feel that.
Okay. Again, I think if I look at the data here, WTI per barrel it peaked at about $120 in 2022. What do your models suggest would occur to inflation, and how would it influence the Fed's thinking should we be back at $120 a barrel?
well, let's just say there's a big price spike in that range. So, we would look at that and we would ask ourselves, look at the overall situation. We would ask ourselves, should we react to that? So, for example, during what we called the Arab Spring back in the early teens, oil prices went up a lot, and that went into the price.
32% increase from the original $1.9 billion price tag at a time when the Fed has.
Damn, guys. Shit. Little retracement. We got stuck on that. Thinking we would keep going up. We full on just broke it. We should have looked for shorts right there. Should have looked for shorts.
The Fed's role as an independent, apolitical institution is being questioned. The central bank joined a global organization to green the financial system under the leadership of President Biden, and only to exit it as soon as President Trump took office.
One tick away.
That's not neutrality, that's drifting. Now let's turn to supervision at the Fed, which at times is unduly burdensome. The Fed must right-size the regulatory framework for banks to eliminate unnecessary burdens, especially community banks. I'm encouraged that the Fed is taking important first steps on capital, and I look forward to seeing what comes from the board's meetings today on revisions to supplementary leverage ratio standards. But more work needs to be done to ensure capital rules don't choke off access to credit for entrepreneurs and working families. That's why I want to underscore the importance of empowering the newly confirmed Vice Chair of Supervision, Governor Michelle Bowman. Governor Bowman has been a consistent voice for transparency, accountability, and just plain old-fashioned sanity. I expect her to lead on reform at the Fed, and I expect you as chairman to afford her the same stature as her predecessors. I look forward to hearing from you and your testimony. Ranking Member Warren, you are now recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. When he ran for president, Donald Trump repeatedly promised to lower costs on day one. Those were his words. But since Trump became president, families have been more financially stressed than ever. Since January, consumer sentiment has plummeted. Since January, household debt and delinquencies continue to climb. Since January, workers' worries over layoffs have climbed. Since January, businesses big and small have been paralyzed by uncertainty, and they have hit the brakes on investments and hiring. The cause of these problems has been the chaos caused by one person, President Trump. Chaotic trade policies, massive cuts to families' health care coverage to fund tax giveaways to the wealthy, and wholesale deregulation of our financial system that will unleash fraudsters and con men on the middle class. First, trade. Trump continues to play his lose-lose game of red light, green light, red light, green light on tariffs. When this administration slaps tariffs on everything from food to clothing to electronics, working families pay the price. This is bad for the middle class and bad for Main Street. Tariffs like these mean higher prices on essentials for consumers and small businesses, while large corporations and the wealthy find ways to shield themselves from the impact. Second, tax cuts for the wealthy. Trump's one big, beautiful bill that Republicans are jamming through Congress represents one of the largest transfers of wealth from working people to millionaires and billionaires in American history. How are Trump and Republicans paying for part of this $14 billion in tax giveaways to billionaires? Well, by kicking 16 million people off their health care coverage, cutting food assistance for more than 2 million children, and raising monthly student loan payments for millions of borrowers just after delinquencies have skyrocketed. In addition to raising costs for lower and middle-class Americans and taking money right out of their pockets, this bill will also choke economic growth. This is a tax policy. It's economic warfare against the American people. And even when they throw 16 million people off their health care, the Republicans still can't pay for the lavish tax giveaways to billionaires. So instead of just saying that billionaires and billionaire corporations should just pay a little more in taxes, they put the cost of those billionaire tax cuts on the nation's credit card, the national debt. The Republicans plan to run up the national debt by another $4.2 trillion and expect our children and our grandchildren to pay for it. And finally, deregulation. This administration is systematically dismantling the safeguards that policymakers put in place
What's up, hippers, bro? What's
after
up?
the 2008 financial crash
How you doing, man?
to prevent Wall Street from creating another crisis. Less than 2 weeks ago, Fed Board decided to lift Wells Fargo's asset cap. You couldn't even wait until Wells managed to make it one whole year without being caught in a major financial scandal. In just the past 6 months, Wells has been caught and confessed to cheating its customers, cheating its investors, and
This made sense why we went
cheating
lower,
its
guys,
workers.
right?
For the Fed to give them a gold star and tell Wells it's okay to expand the number of customers, investors, and employees that it can cheat is an outrageous giveaway to
Order fulfilled.
its most derelict banks. And today, you will leave this hearing and go directly to a meeting where the Fed is
We got
expected
our right there,
to
guys.
vote to
It looks like we're
lower
gonna just
capital
keep going lower
requirements
from here.
for JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the other too big to
L
fail
trade for
banks.
sure.
At a time when the economic
Yeah, dude,
data
hippers, it's
are
alright,
flashing
bro.
red, these
Dude, I can't even
short-sighted
talk, bro. I was
changes
down
will
too, bro.
increase the
So
likelihood that these mega banks once again tank the economy and then come back here, beg Congress for
I still would have been
bailouts
in this
when
trade,
their
but
risky bets go
it's
bust.
not worth it, bro.
To sum up Trump's economic agenda, it's chaos and pain for the middle class.
Maybe we're entering
and
back
even
again,
more
so we end up
profits
here.
for the powerful. American families will face higher costs and new risks to their
guys.
health care.
Dude, we've been ass, bro. We've been so fucking ass.
Unemployment
It
will
makes
tick
me so
and our
mad.
economic growth
We have
will
0%
slow.
win
And that's
rate,
not
bro.
just me
0%
saying
win
that.
rate.
It is exactly
Last 3
what
trades, yeah, we
those
won
economic
0 of them, bro.
projections indicate.
We're 0 for 3.
I hope my Republican colleagues will
Literally,
wake
bro.
up to the
0 for
chaos
3.
around us.
Down
Get all
6-7, 640, bro.
Trump's trade war and kill this
I'm
big
sure y'all can tell how
deal.
mad I am right
And Chair
now, bro.
Powell, it falls to you and the Fed board not to pile
that fucking
additional
sucks,
risk
dude.
onto Trump's
Yeah,
existing
well, at least it
chaos.
felt. I mean, it made sense. It made sense for me to go short. I don't know why I went long, bro. Looking at this small ass fair value gap, and I don't know why I went long. That shit was
Thanks,
stupid,
Senator
bro.
Warren. Today we'll hear from the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome.
I'm just out here raging, bro.
Also,
Read some shit.
Mr. Powell, thank you for your
I was
testimony
obviously,
today.
you know what I mean? I just thought, well, we're,
Thank you.
you know, because yesterday I was trying to short the market,
Committee. I appreciate
and it failed, right? I was like, well, we're touching these highs again. We should fail. Boom, engulfing. Oh, look, we
remains
went up
squarely
higher.
focused on achieving our dual
Fucking
mandate goals
dumb
of
shit
maximum
right there,
employment and stable prices.
I don't even think this,
for the
yeah,
American
that's
people.
when I entered, bro.
Despite
Shit,
elevated
we end up
uncertainty,
failing, right?
the
Like, alright,
economy is in
whatever.
a solid
Guess we're just gonna
position.
keep going up from
The
here.
employment rate remains
I tried following trend back up. We're not holding it, bro.
Inflation has come
What?
down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer-run objective. And we are attentive to the risks.
I think we just washed right now, guys.
I will review the current
Washed
economic
as
situation
fuck.
before turning to monitoring.
That was an easy short though. I don't know why. Not easy. It's just like pinch candle. That's where I wanted it. So I was like, man, my zones were a little bit off. Switch my zones right now. I was like,
GDP
okay.
was reported to have
Come back up. This looked like we were trying to stay away from over here. Now we take these out, right? We're going lower. So we come back up here, retest the zone retap, and then like, alright, there's your entry for shorts again. Boom.
PDFP, which
And then, yeah,
excludes
we
net
just
exports,
fucking, I
inventory,
don't know what the
investment, and
fuck's
government
going on.
spending, grew at a solid
Ass, like,
2.5% rate.
Shit makes me
Within
so mad.
PDFP, growth of consumer
That is
spending
nothing,
moderated,
bro.
while
That is
investment in
nothing.
equipment and
Emotions are
intangibles
high.
rebounded from weakness in the fourth quarter. Surveys of households and businesses, however, report a decline in sentiment over recent months and elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. In the labor market, conditions have remained solid. Payroll job gains averaged a moderate 124,000 per month in the first 5 months of the year. The unemployment rate at 4.2% in May remains low and has stayed in a narrow range for the past year. wage growth has continued to moderate while still outpacing inflation. Overall, a wide set of indicators suggests that conditions in the labor market are broadly in balance and consistent with maximum employment. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. The strong labor market conditions in recent years have helped narrow long-standing disparities in employment and earnings across demographics. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE in prices rose 2.3% over the 12 months ending in May, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.6%. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up over recent months, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Respondents to surveys of consumers, businesses, and professional forecasters point to tariffs as a driving factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. With the labor market at or near maximum employment and inflation remaining somewhat elevated, the Federal Open Market Committee has maintained the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5% since the beginning of the year. We have also continued to reduce our holdings of Treasury and agency mortgage-backed securities, and beginning in April, further slowed the pace of this decline to facilitate a smooth transition to ample reserve balances. We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data.
All right, guys, this is what we need to focus on. All right. Stop focusing on our bias
policy
so
changes
much.
continue
Like,
to evolve.
continue trading, bro. This is obviously
remain uncertain. The effects of tariffs will depend,
I
among
get
other
it.
things, on
You
the
know what I
ultimate
mean?
level.
Yesterday we lost. We were
Expectations of
trying to, you
that
know,
and thus of the related
we
economic
hopped on
effects
it,
reached a
right?
peak
Definitely
in
looked like it was going to hit,
confidence
right?
decline.
Like this, right?
Even so,
We did it.
increases in tariffs this year are likely to push up prices and weigh on economic activity.
Lost my expo. I'm back to the drawing board.
The effects of
Hey,
inflation could be
D,
short-lived,
you're not the only one,
reflecting
bro.
a
I lost
one-time
my
shift.
funded, bro,
It is
yesterday.
also possible that the inflationary effects could instead
Where's
be
it
more
at? It's not even
persistent.
on here no more.
Avoiding that outcome will
Yeah,
depend
you're
on
not
the size
the
of
only
the
one,
tariff
bro.
effect and how long it takes for them to pass
Tell me
through
about it,
fully
bro.
in prices, and
This
ultimately
is a stupid fucking short though, bro. I don't even know why I didn't cash this, guys. I'm too busy, you know, like following trends. Obviously, bro. I don't even know why I tried to switch shit up whenever I was short all the way, bro.
As we act to meet that obligation, we will balance our maximum employment and price
Yeah,
stability
yes, and no. Dude, like I think this is just
price
me, bro.
stability
Me versus
cannot
me, bro. At
achieve
this
long
point, like,
periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans.
like just me versus me, bro. Right
For the
here.
time being, we
Just
are well positioned to wait to learn more
easy,
about the
bro.
likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to our policy rate. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect
I'm just
communities,
mad.
families, and businesses across the country.
Tell
Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Now I'll be keeping us a pretty strict 5 minutes. We have a lot of senators who want to reserve time with the chair of the Fed. So, Senator Russell,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the courtesy. Chairman Powell, first of all, let me just touch base on, I'm just curious, a couple of items, almost a housekeeping nature. With regard to Wells Fargo, was that asset cap, and removing it, that was a unanimous
Nice candle.
vote by all 7 Fed governors, if I recall?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciated the chairman bringing up the fact that
Now we're just watching Attack on Titan on our phone, bro. Attack on Titan, it's crazy.
I think that was a really important item for the Fed to do, following up on both the OCC and the FDIC's actions. As you know, past Fed materials like the supervision and regulation report often embedded reputational risk within the
You
management
could hop in on
component
this. I
of
just don't
Camel's
know
rating
what it
system
is.
without clear metrics or accountability. That kind of ambiguity can chill lawful activity, distract from your core mission, monitoring capital, liquidity, and operational resilience. Now that the Fed is moving toward a more objective and disciplined approach to supervision, how will you make sure that this change is fully implemented at the examiner level? And more broadly, what other regulatory updates can we expect?
So on following through on supervision, Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman actually brings an unusual background to this work, and that is that she's a former supervisor.
Order filled.
So she speaks that language and relates to their work. And I think if anyone can have an effective relationship with them and work with them successfully, it would be Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman. So I'm confident about that. As we think about things that are going on in the pipeline, so I would just point to a few things. Basel III Endgame. We're going to look at the rating system. We're going to be actually voting to put out for comment something on the supplemental leverage ratio this afternoon. We're looking at our merger policy. Stress test is a big thing, and there are a number of things that are happening that we've announced and we'll be moving to in time.
Order filled.
Continue some more.
The payment
definitely right here.
interest
The bond
reserve
zone. I think it's going to happen.
has become a central pillar of the Fed's
Nice
post-crisis
and golden
monetary
right
policy
there.
framework. Since the transition away from the pre-2008 scarcity model, where reserves were tightly managed to influence the federal funds rate, the Fed has relied on a capital reserves regime using administered rates like interest on reserves to maintain control over the short-term rates. As of February 2025, nearly 19% of the $18 trillion in bank assets were effectively loans to the Federal Reserve earning interest. Given this structural shift, how feasible would it be for the Fed to return to a scarcity-based framework where reserves earn little or no interest?
I think we might look just because I don't think we've ever touched any type of profit over like $50, maybe like over $100.
Unwind its balance sheet and manage policy rates.
So we're in a
this rate should definitely hit, bro. Engulfing right there, 1 minute engulfing should be still falling structure to the downside.
Financial crisis and
Definitely no zones in here, bro, for us to be rejecting also, other than BWAP, which BWAP's already broke through BWAP.
That's a good thing, and that
Definitely should
enables banks
not
to
be
keep
holding
lending through
this
stress.
at all. We should definitely be going lower.
If you were to want to go back to a scarce reserves, it would be a long and bumpy and volatile road. I wouldn't recommend that we undertake that road. It would not save any money. There's an illusion that it would save money. That is not the case. And it would also not make credit really helpful. In effect, I would say having a lot of liquidity in the system, which is what goes with ample reserves, make sure that banks will be able to continue to lend. So we think it works. I think unwinding is a policy choice which could be executed, but it would take years to execute and it would be challenging and quite volatile.
Thank you. I've just got about 35 seconds left or so, but I did want to touch on one item that the chairman mentioned, and I think it's important. I know that you didn't mention it in your opening statement, but would you talk a little bit about just exactly what's going on with your building? When you have that type of an overrun on prices and you're talking about billions of dollars in costs, I think it's appropriate for you to be able to explain to the committee exactly what's going on. Would you take a few minutes, please, and explain what's going on with the value of that building and why the costs seem to be so exorbitant?
I'd be glad to if I can have that time. So thank you for the letter we received late yesterday. We will provide a much more detailed response, but just generally, I would just say we do take seriously our responsibility as stewards of the public's money. And the other
this short sales, bro, I'm quitting.
No one in office wants to do a major renovation of it.
This really felt, bro, I'm just so bad. I dead ass don't know what's going on with me now.
This is a great example why, let alone two historic buildings that needed a lot of work. But we decided to take it on because, honestly, when I was the administrator before I became chair, I came to understand how badly the building really needed a serious renovation. It never had one. It was not really safe. It was not waterproof, that kind of thing. So we took it on. I would start by saying, I would also say that the media reports that you actually accurately quoted are misleading.
See, we're just expecting VWAP so fucking much, bro.
There's no DPI dining room. There's no new marble.
We tap it, go back up, tap it, go back up.
We'll have to use new marble.
Dude, I'm telling you, this short fell, bro. I'm mad as fuck with you, bro.
Elevators.
Mad as fuck.
They're old elevators that have been there.
Dude, I'm actually going insane. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening with me anymore.
There's no roof terrace gardens.
Went from fucking doing amazing to fucking fell in like the last 15 trades, 10 trades I took in, bro.
Not in the current plan or just inaccurate.
And I get why. I mean, I definitely get why. I definitely get why I feel it's not the market's fault. It's definitely me, bro. Dude, like, I don't even know how I'm fucking it. Look, bro, no profit at all. We haven't been in profit. This is literally how all my trades play out. No profit. No profit at all. Other one, yesterday, no profit, bro. It went down a little bit. No profit. We're finally back in profit right now.
Released its updated economic
It's definitely flood down, bro. Flood is down.
Summary. But I want to look at the trend lines here. Fed's outlook on inflation, the labor market, and GDP growth have all gotten worse. Compared to your economic
That's how the market is, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Nah, definitely. It humbles the fuck out of y'all guys. It humbles everyone, bro. It humbles me, bro. Humbles literally every single one. Literally, I'm out here crashing out, bro.
Higher unemployment from 4.3% to 4.5%.
Like, what? Bro, I usually never fucking do, like, act like this, bro. It's just mad fucking crazy, bro.
To 1.4%.
Look, we're back up. Like, what? What are we doing?
What has changed in the last 6 months that has caused the Fed to forecast substantially higher inflation, somewhat higher unemployment, and lower?
We don't want to go down, bro. That's insane.
Some of it is just taking signal from.
We don't want to go down. That's actually insane, bro. How we still? It's like every single entry I have, bro, is at a level, bro.
Possible effects in the short term of tariffs. We have no view on the wisdom
guys,
of the longer term.
Basically, I'm pissed. That's what y'all are hearing, bro. I'm pissed.
And by the way, I should add, our forecasts are generally, and in this case, are very, very
Yesterday's
similar to what
trade,
outside forecasts.
I understand that. I'm just
It was
using
nice,
the
bro,
gold
but
standard here.
zones weren't right.
But you mentioned tariffs as one of the things that has changed over the last 6 months. You know, Donald Trump has become president and the economy has
I hate
down.
this candle right here,
Not
bro.
only does the Fed data now show slower growth and higher prices this year, it sees slower growth and higher prices over the next 2 years as well. And the Fed sees no longer-term boost to the economy or drop in inflation. In other words, no upside to Trump's chaotic tariff war or his other economic policies. So let's talk for just a minute about what's under the hood of the Fed's economic forecast. Chair Powell, I know a lot of different factors influence the trajectory
I'm out with
of
from up.
interest rates.
I'm out with from up.
Is one of those
Down
factors
100
how
from
quickly
yesterday.
the federal debt grows?
Yeah, I probably should get out
relative to
too,
growth
bro.
in the economy?
Not directly.
Definitely the last trade,
We
bro.
don't
No
look at
matter
that as a
what, we're gonna
factor
be
that
out.
helps us set monetary policy.
So you're not watching the
We're
ratio
locked in the account after
between the
this.
amount
There's no
of
point.
federal debt and growth in the economy,
No.
how fast the debt is growing and how fast the economy is growing. I think I have quotes from you saying
This
last
trade
year,
fails were any
"Quote,
extreme
we
guys
don't
again,
need to
bro.
pay debt down. We don't need to balance the budget. We just need the economy to grow faster than the debt." Are you saying something different from that now?
No, when asked and pressed, I pretty much always say the same thing as my predecessors, which is that we're on an unsustainable path. I would not say, though, that we do. I will say this: we do not look at federal financial policy and deficits
Maybe.
as something that affects our month-to-month monetary policy decisions.
I'm trying to get the overall projection of what happens in the economy. So, for example, I think you have made the point that if we spend on things like childcare, that can boost labor participation and GDP, that may be a time when you offset the debt that you incur to do that. But if there aren't investments like that, and we are simply running up the debt, what's the impact of increasing the national debt? So
We should definitely be lower, bro. This is the most high we should be making here.
fiscal policy, but it does affect the job, which is keeping
Continue any higher, bro. We're gonna, like, only thing we can take is longs.
If certain policies would
Should definitely be the highest we go, bro. From here, we should definitely be sticking lower. If we do end up higher, we full on switch trend back to the upside again.
Could that make it more likely?
Trump's yapping right now. Fuck, hey man, where's he yapping at, bro?
I mean, theoretically, sure, fiscal policy can add to inflation, but that's again, that's really not something we comment on. We try to stay away.
Is it not? I think I'm listening to Powell. It's the Powell right now.
The Joint Committee on Taxation projects the one big beautiful bill would increase federal deficits by $4.2 trillion. According to analysis by the Congressional Budget Office and the Yale Budget Lab, the bill raises the debt to GDP by 24 percentage points. It slows economic growth, it increases inflation, and it reduces real wages. So two of Trump's future policies, his tariffs and his tax bill, will increase costs for American families. When America borrows money, it should be for investments that Americans need, like investments in childcare or housing or healthcare, that would actually boost economic growth and lower costs.
I just don't want to break this. I guess we have a fucking level here, bro. I'm not aware of.
And then borrow
Crazy.
trillions of dollars just so that a handful of billionaires and giant corporations can get even richer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Chair, banks are facing a record number of regulations. Small community banks are especially
be careful here, bro. Be careful, bro. I think we might just be chopping.
Also be appropriately calibrated so banks are not forced. Oh my goodness, man. Small businesses. I was pleased to see that the Fed is looking to reform the supplementary leverage ratio. The SLR is supposed to act as a backstop to risk-based capital requirements, but too often the SLR acts as a binding requirement for U.S. banks. Would you agree that adjusting the SLR would free up capital for banks to invest more in treasury markets and other low-risk assets that would be beneficial to families and businesses across the country?
I would agree.
Do you agree with Vice Chair of Supervision Logan recently acknowledged that regulators review individual elements of the capital framework in isolation without considering whether proposed changes are sensible in the aggregate and contribute to the capital framework, which all components work together effectively? Do you agree with her assessment, and how are you looking at the capital framework holistically to ensure that the Fed is not stifling economic growth?
Well, we're looking at basically the two big pieces now are Basel III and the leverage ratio. And I'm pretty confident we'll move on both of those in the relatively near future. And they fit together, as we discussed. The leverage ratio was always supposed to be a backstop rather than the binding. We want risk-based capital to be the binding capital requirement. So that's how those two pieces work together.
And as you look at I hope a reintroduction of Basel III, if you're thinking about the bones of Basel III, obviously, over the last several years, we talked about this on Monday. We've heard the comment that the capital requirement was about right, although the capital requirement has been going up every year. So as we look at Basel III coming back and hopefully being reintroduced, not just recalibrated, what do you forecast?
Well, we very much look forward to working with our colleagues at the OCC and the FDIC on Basel III. And I would agree we're going to take a fresh start at that. The last
proposal, guys, was actually this is officially the lowest BDBN Ed has been, bro. Because
as we say,
fell,
rather than the Basel requirements, which were very significantly exceeded.
Giving us an opportunity to go back to the spending at the Fed for the construction.
Fell.
The items that were listed are not happening. I will say that the National Capital Planning Commission website and CPC.gov, anyone can take a look at it for themselves. Not just looking or listening to the New York Post, not just the Wall Street Journal, but page 129 final plans reflected rooftop garden terraces. The page 127 and 129 are where we found the ornate water features and final plans. The new elevators that drop board members off the dining room, page 37.
0 for 6.
Plans, the white marble was pages 40, 41, 65 of final plans. I would welcome your staff coming in to walk my staff through what is happening there, as opposed to what we not only read in the Post, not only in the Wall Street Journal, but also at the National Capital Planning Commission's website. So we would welcome the opportunity to have a
Can I just quickly?
I mean, y'all hear
Some
some
of those are just
bro.
flatly
Fuck,
misleading.
dude.
The of
I wish
elevators.
I could tell y'all
the
some shit,
elevators
bro.
finished
Right? I
as
wish I could
the
tell y'all
built.
like, hey, it's gonna be
That's a
okay, bro.
mischaracterization. Some of those
Yeah,
are no longer.
I definitely believe it is, bro.
Earlier,
But dude, this is the lowest I've ever been, bro. Like I don't know what the hell's happening, bro. Like, did we just lose our whole skill set, bro, or what? Like, I don't even know what to say, bro. I don't even know what to say, bro. No idea what to even say, bro. No idea what to say, bro. Facts, bro. But fuck, dude, what the fuck? Oh my goodness, bro. Yeah, you should have that's the next page. Shit, too. Yeah, but you know, definitely, bro. Marks are hard these days. I don't even think. I mean, I think yes, bro. But people are obviously up. But yeah, I mean, I get it, bro. You're perfect trader already, dude. Yeah, I know, 100%, bro. But I definitely don't expect to be doing like this, bro. Like, what is this, bro? It doesn't even show us our funding anymore, but fuck, dude. Yeah, no, I mean, I hear y'all, bro. I hear y'all, bro. But yeah, fuck it. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get my day on, bro. I'm gonna journal these out. Fuck, dude. I'm sorry, bro, for letting y'all down, bro. Fuck, dude. I don't know what happened, bro. I was killing it for 3 months straight, and then yeah, now we're just selling. But you know what? Let it out. We let it out, bro. Let out that sadness. You feel me, bro? We fucking brushed it to the side, right? We're down. We're down. So what, bro? We're down, right? Fucking losing streak. So what, right? Yeah, I was fucking upset, right? All right, we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. All right, and we got John over here. I don't even know if John's even had a payout yet. All right, John, have you had payouts, bro? Are you profitable? Have you held an account? You know what? I'm going off this dude. All right, bro, fuck it, bro. Yeah, dude, fuck it. There's always gonna be someone saying something, bro, when y'all lose, bro. So it's whatever at this point, bro. You know what I mean? We let that 10 minutes of us being down be down. All right, fuck it. We're down. Let it get to us, right, bro? So fuck it, bro. Fuck it, bro. Yeah, just like I said, bro. 10 minutes, let it all out, all right? Let it soak in. Like, damn, we're buns. We're buns for sure right now, right? But nothing you can do, right, bro? Nothing you can do, bro. Nothing you can do. I mean, other than like, trying to fix your stuff that you're doing wrong. Study, you know what I mean? Study, and just keep getting after every fucking day, bro, right? If we fail this, we're just do practice accounts, right? Practice accounts, because I'm not going to pay for another one, right? But, yeah, dude, fuck it. Yeah, dude, this shit sucks. Shit definitely sucks. I'm not going to lie to y'all, bro, but there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. And, yeah, dude, that's really it, bro. Well, fuck you guys. I'm finna get off this hoe, bro. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get off this, alright? Wish y'all luck, bro, if y'all keep on trading, bro. I mean, obviously, it's still pretty early, bro. Definitely wish y'all luck, bro. The best of luck, bro. Yeah, bro, stick to y'all shit, bro. I don't even know why I'm focusing so much on fair value gaps and supply and demand, bro. This shit. Yeah, hell, but look, supply and demand, bro, rejected the zone. That should have been an easy short for me to take. Pinch candle inside the zone. Short again, right? But yeah. Hippers, bro, there's there's always gonna be someone saying something, bro. Whenever you lose, right? Whenever you lose, there's like, oh, maybe you should do this, right? But nah, bro. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But yeah, dude. Like, that's it. Been call it a day, bro. Yeah, bro. 471. So I can see we're calling it a day. Lock the account. 2 days done, right? Or even 30 minutes after we usually get on, bro. So yeah, bro. Yeah. But yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, B, bro. I was saying that, bro. This literally supply and demand, bro. I don't even know why I didn't take this, bro. I was too focused on this fair value gap. And focusing on fair value gaps is fucking me, bro, recently, bro. So we low key might just get rid of fair value gaps in this market right now, and then see another way that we can use it again. Because this ain't it. This definitely ain't it, bro. Focusing on this fair value gap. Yeah, I see it, right? But this should have been an easy short right here, though, too, for us to get in. But yeah, bro. Fuck. It is what it is. That's officially right. It is what it is, bro. Get back at it again tomorrow, bro. But clap. I can't type here. But yeah, dude. That sucks. But all right, guys, bro. Wish y'all luck, bro. Fucking chill, bro. Good hearing from you, bro. Haven't seen you in a minute, bro. But yeah, dude. That's it, bro. I don't think I over leverage, bro. I think me risking 500 a day is solid, bro. But yeah, I don't know, bro. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, bro. But all right, y'all, bro. I'll see y'all in a bit, bro. I'll be back again tomorrow, bro. Yeah, chill. Not patient enough, bro. We lost his account fucking an hour in market open, bro. Maybe I should do something better. But yeah. But yeah, bro. This is a 50K. Let's see what time I go to work, guys. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you're talking about like how much I need to pass. It's yeah, I need 3K, but yeah, if I have a 50K, I can only lose 2K. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take it, bro. You know what? We are low key getting close. So next time we're risking 200 to make 400, right? And then 400 should be our like, should change this to like around 500 a day max. We adjusted some of these things already, but yeah. All right, bro. Look, tomorrow we're gonna be risking a lot less then, guys. You know what? Taking y'all's advice, bro. I definitely want to, if we do keep on this losing streak, we should have some more trades to take, right? Whenever we start winning a few, I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing. But for now, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and lower that size, bro. But let's see. Maybe. I don't know, guys, but I'm gonna let y'all have at it, bro. I'm gonna get going for sure, bro. Yeah, dude. Appreciate y'all tuning in, bro. Hopefully we don't stay in this losing streak for long, bro. Definitely don't think it's gonna be a while. I think we just gotta lock in, bro. Crisp up. Be more patient, bro. Yeah, and don't let these losses get to it, bro. Cause, bro, I'm fucking human just like y'all, bro. I'm sure like y'all gonna have days like this, bro. Maybe y'all already have, right? It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, right? It's just that I just gotta keep going, bro. Definitely, I'm gonna keep going, bro. But yeah, dude, we're gonna call it a day, bro. Appreciate y'all tuning in, bro. And let's try to kill it again tomorrow, bro. Let's try to do better tomorrow. Let's try to do better. We did not kill it today, bro. But